Yo, Nick Faber here from the Honolulu Blues. It's spring, summer's coming up, it's t-shirt weather. Where's the best place to get Detroit sports t-shirts? This code right here. Just scan it. You're going to have the best options of Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers t-shirts. We have Red Wings, we have Pistons. It's time to wear t-shirts, so get the best ones by scanning this QR code. And as always, go Lions! It's a Sunday. Here we go. Michigan State Sunday is what we should call it. Right. Michigan State still playing in the basketball tournament.
What do you say?
Oh,
the great state of Michigan.
Michigan State not playing Michigan in the Elite Eight, unfortunately. It is actually, I was rooting hardcore for Michigan. It has been 35 years dream of mine. Since I came out the womb, I've wanted to see this. Michigan versus Michigan State in the actual NCAA tournament with a Final Four appearance on the line. That just would have been, today would have been, I don't know, honestly, it would have been, this show would have been, we probably would have never talked Lions, right? Like, we would have just been, like, it would have just been a lot of trash talk.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to get this show going without just talking copious amounts of trash to each other.
Exactly, dude. And I wanted that. And a lot of Michigan State fans, I'd rather see Auburn because, Michigan, we've already beat them twice. You can't beat a team 3 times, blah, 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 all this stuff. That's great. Like, I wouldn't have cared. I just wanted to see Michigan versus Michigan State in the tournament with a Final Four appearance on the line, but we didn't get that. They could not hold tight. They were down by 1 at halftime to Auburn, but Auburn ended up pulling away. So now we get Michigan State versus Auburn, and winner goes to the Final Four, which I was telling Julius before the show. I'm a huge Michigan State fan. I don't think I have anything Michigan State with me right here, but up there's his. If we make it to the Final Four as a Spartan, this is our championship. This is our championship. And I'm sorry for any Michigan State fans that are like, no, we need to be national championship bound or nothing else. That's not how it works as a Michigan State fan. We got our national championship 25 years ago in 2000. I don't think Izzo ever gets another one, but I do think he makes the Final Four, which is to him and to me and to most Michigan State fans, the championship. So basically, championship game for Michigan State today. Other than that, we do have the Pistons playing. Julius, how fun has it been watching this Pistons team? They just beat the Cavs by 11 without Cade Cunningham. Talk to me about him.
Real quick, Nick, congratulations to you and the rest of Spartan Nation. I do understand, as a Michigan Wolverine fan, the importance of March in East Lansing and all over the state of Michigan, and you guys deserve it. You guys deserve the dynasty that is Izzo and the Spartans in March. Now the Pistons, I'm getting ready for a finals run. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but don't be worried about the Cade. A lot of people worried about the Cade injury. We talked about that before the show, Nick. A little calf contusion going on. But I honestly think it's a rest smokescreen that they're just resting them out, getting them ready for the playoffs. And right now, they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. And I wouldn't be surprised. Matter of fact, I predict they get past the first round. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, depending on who their second round draw is. But it's just been a thrill, especially with the Red Wings kind of flaming out and the Tigers starting off slow. We still got the Stones.
Dude, and the Stones are keeping us grounded. It's great. It's like, the other teams are the Red Wings. It's just so many years of bad seasons. It's the 3rd year in a row where March has been our biggest bugaboo, and we just have faltered down the stretch. And it's tough, dude. It's tough. It makes you like spiral. And then you're like, okay, well, the Tigers are coming. We got opening day in LA. This will be a crazy like win. Oh, okay, we didn't get that. Well, we got 2 more games against them. Let's just get one of these. Oh, we got screwed by the umps in New York or whatever, the review in game 2. We just couldn't compete in game 3. Now we got an off day. We're 0-3 to start the season. Luckily, there's 159 more baseball games to go. So we'll be all right, I think. We'll be all right. But the Pistons are kicking ass. It's just unbelievable. Even without Cade, we're doing well. Like I said before the show, Hardaway, 32 points. It's unbelievable to see. Thompson with a double-double. Duren is playing out of his mind. Even without Cade, he's doing well. A lot of assists from Duren, stuff you don't really see. Ron Holland, this rookie who just brings flame, him with beef stew on that second team with Beasley. Like, our second team with Schroeder could beat a lot of starting rosters, in my opinion. Like, we are that good. Shout out JB Bickerstaff. Shout out Pistons.
Coach of the year. Coach of the year. Triple win total.
First team in NBA history to triple the win total.
And coach of the year.
It's crazy. It makes me wonder, do you think the Pistons were just inexperienced last year, or is it truly like, was Monty Williams really just like maybe the worst coach ever?
I think it's a mix of both, honestly, because you can't supplant the veteran leadership that Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder, that they bring every night to the Pistons. The energy and the confidence that they bring to the young guys that they brought to Cade, Jalen Duren, and Ausar Thompson. But also you have to look at it like the team already had this young talent last year. They were not the worst team in NBA history with this young talent. So you got to look at the coach. Monty, he came for a check, and that's all. And now he's gone. So
he got his check.
That's pretty much what happened there. We were desperate. We gave him a check, and he didn't come to work, in my opinion. But JB Bickerstaff came to work, most definitely.
Hell yeah, he did. Not just that too. I don't want to like leave it as black and white as just the coach too. This was to me the biggest. I thought it was more important, and this is wrong, but at the time I thought it was more important that we lost Troy Weaver than we did Monty Williams. I did not think Troy Weaver was great. Now, he's drafted well. He drafted Cade Cunningham. He drafted Jalen Duren. He drafted Ausar Thompson. I get that. But the acquisitions that he was making were pitiful. Just, dude, Mason Plumlee. Like, what are we doing, man? So, like, the addition of Trajan Langdon is also just, it can't be overlooked. You know what I mean? It can't be under talked about. Like, that is a huge acquisition. He is the one who gets Beasley. He is the one who trades for Schroeder. You know, he's the one who signs Tobias Harris, which if you see any of the pregame rituals, all them dancing, Tobias always comes out dancing. He was the one. Cade was asked who talks the least amount of, or talks the least amount of ish like on the court. He had to think for a while who he's going to throw under the bus. It was Tobias Harris, and that's because like Toby can take it. Like Toby is an amazing acquisition. Even though I was very opposed of it when we got him, I didn't realize the behind the scenes stuff that he really did bring. I didn't understand that. I was not hip to his game, and I deeply apologize for my shitty takes when we signed Tobias Harris back. I was just thinking of his old playing days, and I was just like, this isn't who we need, but it worked out.
He was the best player on the Pistons his 1 year. I forgot which year it was, but he was our best player, and it was a horrible season.
It was a horrible season, and it was just like, oh, no. But when he doesn't have to be the best player on the team,
exactly,
he's a better player. But let's get into the Detroit Lions. We're doing a mock draft today. But before we get to a mock draft, we're just going to chat a little bit about the Lions. A few questions I wanted to bring up. First and foremost, Za'Darius Smith still is a free agent. The Lions really did not go heavy on edge rushers and free agents, re-signing Marcus Davenport and a few depth players like Al-Quaidi Muhammad. You know, I don't think fans were super impressed or excited with what Holmes did at the edge position. That he could be saving for the draft. We could do what we did last year at cornerback, which was draft 2 edges to start this draft. We know that that's a possibility. We've seen Brad Holmes do it before. But, like I said, Za'Darius Smith, who's like 33, 34, something like that, he's still out there. Does that spark any interest to you, Julius? Is that anything that you want?
I just don't know if he is what we need at this moment after re-signing Davenport. To me, Davenport and Zadarius Smith are interchangeable. They're both injury prone, but highly effective when healthy. And that carries a certain value to it. And I don't think you put two of those values on one team. So in my opinion, I would stray away from Zadarius Smith. He gave us a pretty good last quarter of the season there up into the playoffs. But I roll with Davenport, and I really honestly believe your assumption that we draft two edges in the draft really happens. I honestly think it's a plus 50% chance that we draft an edge in the first round and an edge in the second round. And I think there's a 25% chance we trade up into the first round. Well, we don't trade up into the first round and get two first-round picks, but we trade that first-round pick we got at 28, 29, and move up to the top 15, top 20, and get a guy that we really like.
I like that. And let's put a pause on that because I do want to talk to you about trading and your ideas of it. But I do just want to quickly get my little opinion about Zadarius Smith in here right now. I like it. I actually would really like it. And for me, the reason I like it is because if you can get him, the reason I don't think he's coming right now is because we're probably only offering a 1-year deal. Just seems like that's probably the case. We're not going to offer anything more. But if we can get him for a 2-year deal, hopefully that would meet. He probably wants 3. We probably want 1. If we can meet in the middle at 2 and give him, $6 million for the next 2 years, I don't think that's overpaying. I don't think that's crazy. And I think what you said, having him and Davenport be interchangeable, and this could even include drafting 2 edge rushers and just having a plethora, having 6 rotational guys on the opposite side of Hutch. You know what I mean? Or even if Hutch, like I said in a couple shows back, I said I don't know if Hutch is going to be the same Hutch that we saw his first 2 years this season. Right, I think maybe by the end of it, he will start to come back. But I just think this year.
So you're saying flood the zone. You're saying flood the zone.
Exactly what I'm saying.
And protect us against what happened last year.
100%. And if that means getting Zadarius Smith and paying for him, drafting 2 edge rushers, and letting our offensive line be a little bit weaker in the depth, or our wide receiver room be a little weaker in the depth, or our safety room be a little weaker in depth, that's fine, because for defensive positions, everything falls off of the defensive line. If you have a backup safety, but a strong competitive defensive line, that backup safety could look really, really good. For offensive line, especially with Hank Fraley still there, I think you can have a Manu from the 4th round have to be a plug and play, or a Dan Skipper who we re-signed be a plug and play, and will be very suffice. We will be just fine. Maybe not, maybe better than having Glasgow in there. You know what I mean? But it's going to be hard to replace Zeitler. The thing is I don't care about any of that. I want, like you said, to flood the zone of the edge rushers, and I want 6 to 7 guys just rotating opposite of Hutch, because if Davenport and Zadarius Smith are interchangeable and are the same, basically, that's great. If they both have injury-prone problems, let them play half of a season, basically, half the amount of reps they would normally play, and let them just come in, be super healthy and fresh and mean and want it. You know what I mean? So I like the idea of going to get Zadarius Smith, but I wouldn't give him more than 2 years, and I wouldn't give him more than $6 million. And even that, to some people, might think that's excessive. But I just think with the way the NFL cap goes, dude, and we're always doing so well staying under the cap, I think you can splurge a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like when you're on this budget, right? And you're doing really good at this budget. You've done it for 3 years. You paid off all these credit cards. Your house is almost paid off. Your car is paid off. Sometimes you need to go to this really fancy sushi bar down the road and just splurge and eat some, nigiri and eat a bunch of good stuff. So that's kind of my opinion on Zadarius Smith. But I want to get back to this trade you were talking about. There's a possibility Brad Holmes trades up. I'm pretty sure Brad has traded every draft. Well, no, okay, not the very first year. Not the first year when we drafted Sewell. But the last 3 years we have traded in the first round. Whether that was to trade back, trade up for JMO, trade up for Terrion, trade back and get Gibbs. You know what I mean? He's done some wheeling and dealing. You already brought up that there's a chance that we trade up to the top 15. Now, I'm curious, before we get into this trade talk, who specifically did you have in mind when we trade up for 15?
Well, I had to take a look at my board here, but a couple names fresh off the head. I mean, Jahad Campbell would just fit so perfectly.
Mm.
If
Edge
he
rusher,
drops,
linebacker.
if he's there at like 13, 14, it's not the worst idea. You know what I'm saying? I can see that. I just think that he's a guy that's high on Holmes' draft board. Like Holmes, just looking at his past drafts and what he likes to do, I just think he's a favorite of him. He's a favorite
That's
of
just
him.
because he went to Alabama. Don't even lie. You're like, I got to find one Alabama guy. No,
Holmes,
he's an edge linebacker. He's a very good pick. He'd be very good for us.
But yeah, and a couple of the high value edges. Shamar Stewart. I really like him out of Texas A&M. Had a great combine.
Yep. Mike Green,
Marshall. I was just thinking, even though that you started, it's so deep of an edge class that you started getting some names that could fall. That they could definitely be there at 28, like Mike Green. I see Mike Green go as high as 10 and drop to the first half of the second round.
It's very similar to Quinyon Mitchell last year. Everyone had him like really high up, but he was from Toledo, small school. Some teams were a little weary of him. He went later. Last year, a lot of defensive players went later because it was such an offensive heavy draft. And a lot of people think this year that's not going to be the case until draft comes and you start seeing, what's his name? Shoot. What is the receiver's name from Ohio State? Emeka Egbuka. Is that how you say that? He could go in the top. He could be the number one wide receiver drafted over Tet McLaren and over Luther Burden. It's crazy how this draft could turn out because I don't think there is a dominant. I think the most dominant player in this draft to the consensus is like Travis Hunter, who to me, Travis Hunter shouldn't even be a top 5 to 10 pick because the team that gets him won't know what to do with him. He's not cornerback 1 in this draft, in my opinion. If you draft him, you don't want him to play cornerback. Almost you want to sell his jerseys. You want him to have the ball in his hand. You're going to probably play him at wide receiver. He is not wide receiver 1, 2, or 3 in this draft, in my opinion. I think he's very similar. Do you remember? We've gotten on a tangent now. This is just a spicy take I've had. But do you remember Tavon Austin? I think out of West Virginia or whatever.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah. I think Travis Hunter kind of reminds me of him, a gadget player who teams are like, he'll just be good. He's just athletic. He's a football player, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, but then there's like guys like Shedeur Sanders, who people think might not be drafted in the first round. He's going to probably be a top 3 pick. He's going to probably the Giants. You know what I mean?
The quarterback smoke screen is strong. Jackson Dart is going to be a top 15 pick.
Jackson Dart could be a top 15 pick. Exactly. Yep. So it's crazy to think about. It's weird where this draft will go. Another guy that we might be trading up for, I think, is the guy who won the combine, in my opinion. That was James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. Very good edge rusher. I like him. He's one guy that could fall, but I would like him. But trading. Okay, I was just curious who you would trade to 15 for. Do you think Brad Holmes is more likely to trade up or back out of the first round?
I think it depends on the board, but I would say he's more likely to trade up.
I think the opposite. I love that you said that. The reason I think the opposite is because I think last year's draft had a lot of skilled defensive players that did fall, and we were trading up for Terry.
Yeah.
We weren't good. Like if he got past 15, we were sitting, watching, waiting. You know what I mean? Jack Johnson right there. But this draft is filled with set edge rushers that are going to be the second best edge rusher on their team, no matter who you draft, honestly, unless it's like Abdul Carter in the top 3 or 4, obviously. But I think it's filled with cornerbacks that are going to be the second best cornerback on whatever team. That's like their pinnacle. That's their peak. I think this has a lot of second best offensive linemen. I just don't think there's like game changers.
High-end talent.
I don't think there's high-end talent. Thank you. Like I truly don't think that. So to me, this is the year we trade out of the first. We get rid of that 5th-year option, the money that we would pay for that. That would help us sign a Zadarius Smith. Then you go for 2 edge rushers in the second round. I don't know, just an idea, but I truly do think that we're trading back this one, or I just don't think we trade up. We either stay put or we trade back, especially if a team is in love with, like, I don't know.
Luther Burden?
Yeah, Luther Burden, who my good friend of the show and good friend of mine who I go to the Senior Bowl every year with, Russ Brown. If you don't know who Russ Brown is, go make sure you check him out. He writes for the Lions, and he just put out an article stating that Luther Burden could be a pick. And I quoted it saying, this isn't crazy. I've said this, like I just after JMO and ASB, our depth, like I love Tim Patrick, and Khalif Raymond, but our depth at wide receiver is super low, and we'll get into that a little bit more.
I saw both of those guys getting mocked to the Lions.
That's what I'm saying. Like that isn't crazy.
These guys were like top 5 picks a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Matt Miller's ESPN analyst Matt Miller. He just had Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman, go to us the first round, and then Nick Scourton in the second round. All offseason, I had been putting Nick Scourton to us in the first round. This is like edge rushers can fall back, and it's deep. So there's also edge rushers like guy I love in the second round, Kyle Kennard. First off, Pistons reference, just love that. And then not only that, there is a Jalen Ivey also to be drafted this year.
Oh, yes.
If we can get Jalen Ivey and we have Jaden Ivey in Detroit, like I might have to like buy a bunch of ivy strands and just like grow ivy all over my fence, my fence in my backyard, and just have it like the Cubs outfield where you just jump into the ivy. You know what I mean?
Right. Throw some purple undertones in the blue, in the Honolulu blue.
Yeah, dude, that's what we need. I would love that. One last thing I did want to talk about was DJ Reed. Just newly acquired cornerback for the Detroit Lions, 48 mil, 3 years. Awesome. Was asked yesterday why he wanted to come to Detroit. He said he's coming to Detroit to win a Lombardi trophy. That's it. I love that. And here's the thing is, it's crazy. For the first time ever, you hear it and you believe it. You know what I mean? Like, geez, how just you're just as old as I am. Like, you know, Adam, the young fart, he isn't here today. So, you know, he's just living in this glory life. You and me, we went through the dog days. No, I'm just joking. Adam obviously did too. But what does it feel like to you to like get these top cornerbacks, top free agents, and have them say, I'm coming here to win a Lombardi, and actually mean it, not just know that that's the political term?
It's surreal. Honestly, I feel like I'm almost in a cult. Like, I feel like the Grit Lions, the Campbell Lions, we're a cult, bro. We have a cult following, and nobody truly knows what we're about but us. And it's always been that way, and that's what makes us a cult, another way. But it's not like one of those crazy mega cults. It's this actual cult here. No, shout out to Republicans. That's all good. But check my ex. I'm a brethren. But
we're about to get political up. Adam, we don't have Adam here to stop us.
To mediate us. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We never get into politics on the show for good reason.
Yeah.
But it is a good cult that we have. And the reason I say that is because the words that he said, right, would never be said in a Lions uniform in 50, 60 years. Even players in the last couple years that we've signed, like Carlton Davis and stuff. And I almost got a whim about this, that Brad Holmes is targeting this specific mindset. He wants players who have talent, who can start and help us, but also are maybe they got a chip on their shoulder. This is what our cult following is about. This is what grit is about. It's about having pride and a chip on your shoulder to prove the world wrong. The world doesn't believe the Lions can win the Super Bowl until we win it. That's when we prove the world wrong, when we actually win it. And DJ Reed is all about that. And so Brad Holmes said, let's put ink to pen. He's targeting those kind of players, not only in free agency, but in the draft as well. And I personally believe that it's going to come to fruition. As long as injury luck don't kill us like last year, where you got 23 players on the IR, you know what I'm saying? We are going to win. We are going to make it there. Trust. If we stick to this process that I just described and don't pray away from it, don't go into the popular, you know, whatever. We don't become the Eagles, even though they just won Super Bowl.
Maybe not the best comparison, but I get what you're saying.
Cowboys, you know, we don't become them. We're our own thing, and it's going to lead to great things. I just feel it. But that's what I thought about DJ.
A charging team that will not yield.
Yeah. Well, exactly, bro. Exactly. Okay, all right. That was all the lines talk we really have to go over because it's the dog days of football and there's not much news out there. You kind of got to make some stuff up, basically. You don't make it up, but you figure something out. Let's talk about what we can talk about, what we're going to talk about for the next month. So if you're missing this episode, well, just catch the next 4 episodes and we'll be talking about the exact same thing. We're getting to draft season, man. Dun, 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 dun. I wish I had the draft. Oh, wait. Work. We'll take that.
We're on the clock. We're on the clock.
On the clock, baby. We on the clock. Let's pull up that mock draft, Julius. We're going to share our screen and we're going to let everyone see how our minds work as we go through a 7-round mock draft for the Lions. No trades, no trades, no trades. So we're just going to pull this mock up. I'm going to go full screen so I can even see because my eyes are too bad. Yeah. All right. Let's set up the settings here. Julius is our mock draft runner. We're going to see how this works with the live show thing here. So we'll see how that.
No trades.
No trades. No trades. No trades. Let's get this draft going. Let's see who's on the board for us.
Look at that.
Oh, dude, that's my boy right there, right?
We just talked about it, bro.
That is so funny, dude. So top guys here. I mean, so here, as we get into the first round, Julius, I'm curious. I want to pick your brain before we go any of these guys. How likely is it that Brad Holmes drafts Omari and Hampton and just goes another running back? I'm just joking. That's not what I'm going to ask. No.
0% because we
Okay, good. What positions are you looking for? Obviously, like we could be going best player available, but what positions specifically stick out to you for the Detroit Lions first round? Where would you want Brad Holmes to go?
I'm looking at a starter level player at edge, inside offensive line, possibly inside defensive line, possibly linebacker, but there is no starter level at this point in the draft. Off-ball linebacker, you lost your High Campbell, you lost your starter level inside linebacker for this year. So you know, we were talking about the fallen edges, and I see one right at the top of the board right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you looking for? Is there any other positions out of the norm that you would consider?
Of everything, wide receiver. The only one I would even think about.
They got 8 alive, bro.
Did.
Burden went 22nd. Emeka Egbuka, 15.
I told you it could be a top 15 pick, and then
Golden.
Oh,
wow. Millen went top 5, just like he's been mocked to do for the last 3 months.
That would be crazy if Jacksonville had Brian Thomas and Ted. Anyways, yeah. So wide receiver, but edge. I don't want to try to make a 4th round edge rusher be awesome. I don't mind trying to make a 4th round inside offensive lineman be awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's go edge. You got this guy for an extra 5th year if you want to take it. I like James Pierce Jr. a lot. Won the combine, in my opinion, just a big freak athlete. You know, says a bunch of good stuff here. Pierce is the kind of athlete with the production and disruption scores you don't let out of the first round. I honestly, truly don't think he's there for us, but this is the guy that I think I could see us trading up for, more so than Mike Green, more so than Donovan Edwards, more so than Shermar Stewart. I like James Pierce. I would go with him if he wasn't on our board, just so people could hear what I would have to say. I do like Nick Scourton, but I don't know if I want him in the first round. I would probably zig here and not go edge rusher just because I do think I see better interior defensive line that fell here. And I wouldn't be looking for Tyleek TJ. I would be looking up. I really do like Derek Harmon a lot. I'm a big fan of Derek Harmon. Didn't impress too much at the Senior Bowl. I wanted to see a little bit more, but was good. Was talked about, was noteworthy. I like Derek Harmon. We just signed Roy Lopez. I feel like Broderick Martin's kind of faltering out, but if you have Aleem who's coming back from a torn ACL, he is not going to be ready for the beginning of the season, I bet. So now you're looking at an older DJ Reader and Roy Lopez. If you get another, and Levi Onwuzurike, if you want to have him not play edge and play more interior. But other than that, like, I wouldn't mind adding Derek Harmon. But with what we have been presented, which is the draft, my personal pick is James Pierce Jr. That's what I put my notch on. Julius, what would you pick if it had no one else had any indication, and then what should we pick?
I'm gonna go your route and explain if Pierce wasn't on the board, even though I do think it's possible he does fall, or we do trade up slightly to get him, like we did with Arnold last year. If he wasn't on the board, I think Derek Harmon produces the best starter level value at that pick.
Yes.
I honestly, with Nick Scourton sitting right there, honestly, I would do what you did. You already said in this show, Nick. I would trade down if I was Brad Holmes and this was the board without James Pierce on it. I would
Yep.
trade down.
Yep.
I would trade down and get another pick. But since James Pierce is on this board, he is the pick.
He's the pick. He's the pick. There we go.
Yeah.
James Pierce, baby. Welcome to Detroit. Woo!
Exciting times.
Exciting times, dude. Exciting times. And we are
Second round.
back on the board. All right. So let me put this back up. All right. So we went edge rusher. We had already talked about going double up on edge rusher. Wouldn't be the craziest thing. Other positions now I'm looking for inside offensive line or even offensive tackle. This offensive lineman. I would prefer a guy who is versatile. I think the Lions, the reason I don't know if we go with Gray Zabel, he was actually going to be one of my player spotlights, but on a week. Oh, I think it was the week my computer died. I couldn't get to it. He played like 460 snaps, or out of all the snaps he played, 460 a year, whatever. He played like one or two outside of right guard. I want a guy, if I'm getting an offensive lineman, I want a guy that can play everywhere. And then other than offensive line, I really like the interior defensive line still, another edge, wide receiver. Those are my like round two guys that I'd be looking for.
I would probably add secondary in there. Maybe safety.
Yeah.
Probably not corner. I'll probably say safety.
Yeah, there we go.
Off-ball linebacker if somebody's there that they like. But yeah,
So,
I agree.
Looking at these guys, who is some names that you stick out to you?
So off-ball linebacker, I think I talked about Chris Paul.
Yeah.
The great son of the great point guard himself. He's not Chris Paul's son, but
we interviewed him at the combine or at the Senior Bowl.
Really, really athletic linebacker. Kind of fits what we like in Detroit. He's not the biggest guy. I think we talked about that, but he's smart. He's tenacious. Just looking at the board, if we did want to double down, Kyle Kennard, I like. Josiah Stewart, undersized. I think I wouldn't want to pick him this low. Let's look. And I like Jordan Phillips. Ooh, Shamar Turner. What do you think of Shamar Turner?
I like him a lot. I put him in my first mock draft I did of the year for the Lions. I went Shamar Stewart first round, Shamar Turner second round. Again, that interior defense line without Aleem for the first half of the season bugs me a little bit. I want to add someone. I'm just worried that they're not going to – I'm just worried that it's just going to be another Broderick Martin. Like, I expect Broderick Martin to, like, really fulfill his, like – he could still be like Ife Melifonwu, right? Just really lackluster his first few years and then – kind of pops in the final couple of years of his contract. So I still have hopes for Broderick Martin. Of these guys, I like Shamar Turner a lot. I like Josiah Stewart. I have really liked his tenacity when I watched him play at the Senior Bowl, like in the practices. Obviously on the field, he's a good player. Like you said, a little undersized, but I think he could be really good. I really like Kyle Kennard, not just because I like him. I love the name. But I got a little like I can't draft. You know what I mean? For 1. Fool me twice. Shame on me, dude. So I don't know if we should draft Kennard. I like Chris Paul a lot. He was the first guy you went to. Adding another linebacker. I mean, our linebacker, we'll get Rodrigo back. We got Jack Campbell. We got Anzalone. You know what I mean? Those are your top three. We bring Derek Barnes back. So I don't know if adding like a fifth linebacker is a necessity as opposed to just going with a second edge rusher.
I just noticed this kid too, Marcus Imbo. Pretty, probably had one of the best combines of offensive linemen. Kind of a tweaker. He's listed as a tackle, but he could play both.
Go back to him real quick and see where he played all his right here, right guard. So right tackle a ton, and then right guard. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of guy that I want. I want a guy who has a lot of reps at guard and tackle. You know what I mean? I want to be able to.
He played really well against Ohio State, Oregon. I think he's a pretty good player. I honestly been seeing him going in the top of the first round a lot, so I'm surprised to see him fall. But he has been getting drafted in the second round.
Yeah, it's tough with these simulators. You know what I mean? Like people are like, no, you got to go with the top 5. No, dude, these simulators are not how I like Mbo. I like Chris Paul. I probably would go offensive lineman over linebacker, and then I also like Shamar Turner and I like Kyle Kennard. Those are the guys I like. I kind of leaned heavy for James Pierce, so I'm gonna let you make this decision for a second round. But those are the guys that I think we should keep it to. To be honest, I kind of really like Mbao just because I've never drafted him to us, and that would be really fun to see how this mock
That's
draft.
true. I haven't, like I said, I think I told you I do one of these PFF mocks a day, sometimes multiple, and I honestly don't think I've drafted Mbao, partly because he didn't really fall to any of the spots we were really in.
Right.
But he makes a great second round pick for our show here.
I like it, dude. I think it's a great pick for our show, dude. That's great. That's great. That's great. Let's get in. We are ready for our third round pick. And I just messed up. All I was trying to do was play this. We're back on the clock. All right. So we got a tackle. We got an edge. We got tackle. We got an edge. Offensive lineman, almost really. He's a tackle, but he's an offensive lineman. We got an edge. Now I'm really leaning wide receiver, safety depth, interior defensive lineman. Those are the 3 guys.
Got some names.
Okay. Yeah, throw in no offensive line. Yeah, throw an interior, throw an edge because you can never have too many, and then safety. I think we should limit it to just I would throw an edge in there too. And let's just see what these 4 positions hold to us. Yeah, Makuba here. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Lacking run defense skill set may turn off some teams, but his instincts and athleticism and coverage make him a top prospect. Similar to Devin McCourty, we like. I wouldn't mind just because who'd we just sign? What's his name? We just signed him. Do you remember?
Safety?
Yeah. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Probably should have brought it up at the beginning of the show. If you didn't know, we signed a safety last weekend. I don't remember what his name is now. I like that idea. I like Pat Bryant. He's pretty low for the wide receivers. I saw his name earlier. I like Tez Johnson. I don't like Tez Johnson. I like
Deion Walker.
Deion Walker.
He's huge.
He is huge.
I would only take a chance. He's a Detroiter too. I think that's why I know of him. But he would only make sense if he can immediately come in and take over that backup nose tackle spot over like the guy we just signed, Kyle. What's his name? Kyle Lopez, or just take over. Just get Roger Martin off the team. I think he could definitely do that.
I like this. I like this guy. No, yet another guy I haven't drafted to us. What did you say his name is? Deion Walker?
Deion Walker. I believe he went to Cass Tech. Huge player, and he played really well for Kentucky. He played with who's the captain that we drafted a couple years ago from Kentucky? Pascal.
Oh, yeah.
Pascal talks him up on social media, throwing his name around. So
let's get Deion Walker, dude. I like that. Let's do it. We have solidified our defensive line.
Oh man, we in the trenches this draft, most definitely.
Yeah. And we got offensive line. So now I'm thinking wide receiver or safety or edge. Those would be the 3 things I have in there. Wide receiver, safety, and I'm always going to put edge in because you just never know when a good edge might want to come up.
Facts.
Any
names.
I like Savon Jones a lot, actually, at edge. I like Pat Bryant a lot at wide receiver. In fact, of the 2, I would probably pick Pat Bryant. I really like him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Click on Pat Bryant, 6'3", right? I believe he's a big-bodied boy who can make 6'3".
200 pounds.
Yeah. Lacks the top-tier athletic qualities to be a day 1 outside receiver, but he possesses a strong build, good hands, reliable blocking, which is what we look for. Very similar to like what Tim Patrick could be, just a big body.
You're putting me on him right now.
You dude, this guy, honestly, I was put onto him by some dude on Twitter. I put out a mock draft and some guy was like, dude, Watch Pat Bryant.
One drop last year.
Exactly, dude. Like, I really like this kid. So this is my pick. I think he fits us well in a wide receiver room that lacks depth and also big guys. If you get rid of Tim Patrick, our backups are Khalif Raymond and Tom Kennedy. Those are the two smallest wide receivers in the NFL outside of Tez Johnson, basically. So, like, we need a big dude, in my opinion. Ooh,
I actually like this player too, Isaac Tesla. He's kind of an under the radar guy. They don't even got no analysis on him yet, but also big, can catch.
Yeah, he is also big.
And honestly, but you really just put me on a Pat Bryant. He almost, kind of gives Amon-Ra St. Brown analysis vibes.
Yeah. Yep.
Not saying that they're similar players, but
right. But St. Brown was never going to be a round one.
They were saying the same thing about him. Low level athletic ability, but he can catch and he's smart. Blah blah.
Yep.
And that's round 4, pick 130. Where did we take Amon-Ra St. Brown? Round 4, pick 127.
Something like that. Something right there.
Like that. It was around that time. So that's
it was.
crazy.
Yeah, probably like 114 or something in the fourth round. So a higher fourth round pick. Also, just live on air, make sure that you screenshot this so we can tweet it out when we're done. Okay.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Now we're on to the 6th round because we have no 5th round pick. Here we've gone wide receiver. Here's where I'm like, I don't mind adding a safety, a linebacker, a cornerback, a tight end. You know what I mean? Those are the kind of positions I'm looking for now. Those are the kind of guys that I would be interested in. Jay Higgins is an all right guy. We're really picking in crap. Like, these are crap shots. You know what I mean? Like, this is a dart throw. Let's see what name sticks out, who we like, what looks good. Anyone that sticks out to you. I like the name Johnny Walker Jr. Just would make me, if we had a Johnny Walker and a Jameson on our team, dude, we'd be like straight whiskey boys, dude. We'd be drinking whiskey nonstop. So I like the idea. Caleb Ransah, huh?
We actually got a late round analysis here.
From Alabama. We love that.
He's a nickel guy.
Plus size.
Could move to safety. So he could be versatile. Kind of, he tested out elite at the combine.
Right. And then if it goes on to further say his best NFL position may be a downhill safety where he wouldn't be tasked with covering quick slot receivers and could instead maximize his tackling ability. Similar to Iffy, it sounds like to me. You know what I mean?
His grade dropped off significantly in his junior season, too, if you look at it. He kind of broke out, and then he kind of had a little downturn here this year, probably in coverage. But,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, all this is, keep scrolling down. I mean, obviously these are names, and if you know, great, throw it out in the chat. But we're just looking what guys.
Smith, he could be a high upside, late round corner. Jake Majors, high upside, late round interior.
Okay. I honestly, of all these guys, I like Jay Higgins a lot. Linebacker, Iowa, you pair him with Jack Campbell, you know what I mean? We know
they know each other. You know they do.
And that Holmes likes his Iowa linebackers and his Alabama boys. You know what I mean?
He had a plus 90 coverage grade. The last 2 seasons, he's been a dog in coverage. How big is he? 6'2", 232. So, he's not 6'40", 250 like Jack Campbell, but he can hold his own.
He can hold his own. I say we go Jay Higgins. Let's pair up the Iowa linebackers. 2 picks to go. 2 picks to go. We gotta get a safety in here.
Dude,
we gotta get
a safety here. And I'm gonna go safety and corner because you'll find a lot of like the guy we just saw who can play, who might be a better safety than a corner in college,
Malachi Moore, first name sticks out, Alabama. Can always seem to trust the guy who comes from Alabama, I feel.
Jabbar Muhammad, I really liked his
Dude, should we draft Shiloh Sanders?
Let's look at this guy. Let's look at him. He doesn't have an analysis. I know he's undersized. It's probably he didn't have the best combine, but he has the Sanders name. He didn't play that bad. You look at his grades.
Yeah, they're not terrible. Kind of missed tackle is
He
like
played great against BYU, which last game of his career.
this guy is not gonna make a roster. I don't know. We can draft him, but no, he sucks.
Tommy Hill, I really like him, a kind of late round darling of mine. Look at him. He played also against Colorado. We were just looking at him. And he has an analysis. Look at that. A late round analysis for Tommy Hill.
Started at wide receiver and cornerback his 4-year college. Backpedaled and hip flipping can look clunky, but his body type and overall explosive in the field worthy of a day 3 range for a team looking to develop him as a zone scheme outside cornerback. That's probably not going to
We are not a zone scheme.
We are not a zone scheme.
If they're not going to
work for us,
they're not going to move him to safety. No. I also like Aubrey Burks. Little undersized, but he's a really, really tough player.
Only 4 missed tackles last year. What's Malachi Moore looking like? Let's just jump into him. Undersized. I don't think that's going to fit what we want at safety.
I know he was a captain for Alabama last year, one of their best players. Pretty good coverage grade to be a safety, and he had good grades. He played in the SEC. He might have fallen this low. I think we could probably take a chance on this.
I like Malachi Moore. I like that. Last pick of the draft. What position should we? I don't know. Do we want to
mess around? Maybe another.
See, I think we would probably go tight end, another edge rusher, or a deep cornerback. That's kind of how I would guess it.
Ethan Downs. Pretty good player out of Oklahoma.
19 hurries last year, 22 year before.
He has pretty good size too, and he's pretty good graded out. True pass rush. He played great against Ole Miss. Played great against Bama. And he played great against the SEC.
Let's do it, dude. Let's finish it off with him, bro. Ethan Downs to get it out. Great draft. Make sure you snippet that and then put it in our chat so I can put that on Twitter. Give me a good screenshot of that. And that was it. That's our mock this. We got 2 edge rushers, a tackle, an inside defensive lineman, a wide receiver, a linebacker, a safety. We went James Pierce first round, James Pierce Jr., Marcus Mbao, tackle, second round, Deion Walker, third round, Pat Bryant, wide receiver, fourth round, Jay Higgins, linebacker, sixth round, Malachi Moore, safety, round 7, and Ethan Downs, round 7, edge.
St. Brown with 112.
I think I said 114. I was pretty close.
So Pat Bryant could definitely be the next Amon Ra. We booked in this draft with edge rushers. We didn't do the 2 in a row like we stated, but we did get 2. So in my opinion, yeah, excellent draft, my friend.
I agree. Excellent show. Excellent draft. We don't have Adam here to cap us off, but before we go, Julius, any last words?
I got a new little Lions fan in the oven. Be here any day. My wife 40 weeks pregnant, so hey, fatherhood is great, and bringing new Lions fans into the world is amazing.
Amen. Now, here's my question, because you're out in Germany and this kid's about to be born. Is it going to be on a U.S. base where the kid can still be president?
Yeah, they're still going to be a U.S. citizen. Yeah.
Okay, I just needed to make sure. I didn't know how it all works, but I mean, dude, if we stifle this kid to not be a president before like he's even born, you know what I mean? Like, we can't do that. So I just wanted to make sure. Other than that, go Pistons. Wings are not out yet. Down 3 points, 9 games to go. Tigers are 0-3, but we got 189 games to go, and we are less than 1 month away from the draft. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We are on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on everything. And as always, go Lions!